Well, guys, I saw this quote the other day. It says, "Enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize they were the big things." And that hit me. That hit me. We talk a lot on this channel about working hard and being busy and doing projects and all of that. And my kids are growing up. I've got 3 kids, and I'm looking at my children now and realizing before long they're going to be out of the house, and I only have so much time with them. And so when I read that quote, and it's talking about those little things, those little times that you spend with your kids around the fire, reading, doing activities together, the little things of just going and doing some fishing, spending that quality time in prayer, in having meals together. I feel like we're so busy in our culture that we're just rushing from one thing to the next, and we're never slowing down. And when I read that about those little things, one day I'm going to look back and see that those little things, those were actually the big things. And guys, I don't know where you are on this, and maybe you're looking back. I don't want to get to, 60, 70 years old and look back and think, man, I completely blew it. I've got regrets. I don't want to have regrets. And so, guys, I wanted to share this with you because it certainly hit me. I'm always thinking about work. I'm a pastor, so I'm always thinking about the church and ministry and all the things I've got to be doing at the church and all the phone calls I need to make and answering all the emails and preaching and teaching and counseling and all the other stuff, doing a wedding this weekend, all that. And at the end of the day, you're like, man, I'm just tired, just go to bed. Next day, same thing. And then a week passes, and then a month passes, and then a year passes, and another year is gone. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, but what did I do with my family? What am I sacrificing my family on the altar of ministry? Maybe. Or maybe other things. I mean, we really don't have many hobbies, my family, but we do have a homestead. We do have goats and chickens, and we do enjoy doing things together. But it's like, man, everything's just so busy. Everything's so busy, and I know a lot of families. Maybe you're like this in your family. That it's just, I mean, there's sports, there's school, there's activities. There's clubs, and your kids are teenagers then, and then they're off with their friends, and or on their phones all the time or something, and you never stop as a family, as individuals, and really build those relationships. And I know we spend a lot of time and effort and energy trying to get our kids into the right college. I'm kind of like, what's the dirty jobs guy? Rowe. I can't remember name off the top of my head, but he's always talking about the importance of just the trades. And I'm more and more leaning that way, especially in the state of colleges today. They're just indoctrination centers. You send them off, and then kids just take on a whole different form from what they learned growing up. And more we spend through the roof trying to get our kids into the right college. We'll move into a different area or location to get them into the right school, but are we teaching them to be good dads and moms, to be good husbands and wives, good church members, good regular citizens of a country, serving? Are those the things we're teaching them? Are we teaching them those valuable skills that they can learn? Especially, this channel is Provide and Protect. Especially for young boys, are we teaching them how to provide for a family? Knowing the basics of business and finance, and can they provide just those basic skills for a family? Can they change the oil in a car? And can they, can they build a fire? Can they do those things for providing? Are we teaching them those things to our kids? And that's part of the little things. That's part of the little things that are the big things, over time. and also in the protection piece. Do my boys know how to defend themselves and others? Do they have the right moral compass and judgment to be able to do that? And the more I've just reflected upon that quote I just read, the more I'm worried a little bit, concerned a little bit, not only about my children and where we are, but also other people in my community. I know a lot of dads that they're working 70, 80 plus hours a week, and they get home late. The kids are already down. They leave really early in the morning, and the kids are still asleep, and they don't really ever see them, or they have to be on the road all the time. They're always on the road, and they're never home to be with the family and to impart those skills. They're not able to invest their life and their love, their faith, their knowledge into their children. And so, those are the little things. When you add them up, they're actually the big things. Every birthday for my kids, I get up and make pancakes for the kids. It's a small thing, but it ends up meaning something. I can imagine one day my kids on their birthday, when they're much older, thinking, "Man, yeah, pancakes. It's my birthday." So, and maybe you don't have kids. Maybe this is irrelevant, and as far as kids go, but it may be something important with relation to other smaller things that end up being a big deal later on. You could apply that same quote to your finances, and the little things of putting a little bit away, and over time that ends up being a big thing. You can apply that. I think this principle, that quote, you can apply that to a lot of, I think, different areas of life. So, but man, convicting for me today, and I just felt like I needed to share this because some of you guys, you might be in the same boat, and you've got 4 different side hustles, and I've been there. I've been called out. I've been confronted on that in the past. At one point I was on 2 different seminary boards, school boards, teaching at 2 different seminaries, pastoring full time. Of course, got YouTube going on. We had all kinds of real estate licensing and real estate investing, all kinds of things going on. A lot more than that even. And people eventually said, "You know what, you're doing too much. You got to pull back." And I did. I was in the military at the same time with all that in the reserves, so I did. But even still, even pulling back from most all of that stuff, pretty much, even still, I'm still convicted that I'm lacking that time, that quality time, and the intentional effort of discipling and raising my children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, of wanting to see them become strong, brave men, and for my daughter, a strong, intelligent, beautiful woman one day. And I want them to have those inherent traits and character traits that will help them in the long term. But if I just say, "You know what, tomorrow I'll do that," then it probably will never happen. And then I'll look back and say, "Man, those were the times I missed." So guys, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think on this. If this is an area that you've struggled with, if this is an area that maybe you've thought about and you need to make some big changes. Sometimes we just got to have the courage to make the big changes for what's best long term. So guys, but drop your thoughts down below. We'd love to read your thoughts on this as well. But thanks so much for your support for us, for our channel, and we'll see you on the next video.